It's one of those things that starts so quietly you don't even notice it's happening. There was no breaking news story, no official announcement. It was just a normal Tuesday, or maybe a Wednesday, when the world tilted just a little bit off its axis. Most people only realized it in hindsight, when someone else finally had the courage to ask, "Hey, have you noticed something weird about that crosswalk?" It all centers on a single pedestrian crossing, tucked away near a residential block. It's a completely ordinary intersection, the kind you'd see in any town, no traffic lights, just painted white lines on the asphalt. For years, it operated on a simple, unspoken agreement between drivers and pedestrians, a dance of slowing down and speeding up, where everyone got where they needed to go. Every morning, between 6:10 and 6:30, hundreds of commuters would use this crossing to get to the bus stop or the train station. It was part of the city's heartbeat. And then, the rhythm changed. It didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, creeping change that began to seep into the morning routine. People started to hesitate. We know this because of archived CCTV footage from storefronts overlooking the street. The cameras, installed for security, accidentally captured the beginning of the anomaly. The footage shows pedestrians reaching the edge of the curb and just stopping. They wouldn't cross. At first, you might think it was due to heavy traffic, but it wasn't. The number of cars passing by was exactly the same as it had been for the past 5 years. There was no statistical change in vehicle flow. So, why did they wait? The videos are perplexing. People would stand there, looking straight ahead, their eyes fixed not on the approaching cars, but on the empty stretch of road in front of them. It was as if they were staring at an invisible wall. You see a man lift his foot to step onto the street, only to pull it back at the last second. A woman fusses with her scarf, checks her phone for the 10th time, anything to delay the crossing. Some would even turn around and walk away, as if they'd suddenly remembered they left the stove on. But they hadn't. They were just avoiding the crosswalk. Initially, no one connected the dots. A local traffic analyst who first reviewed the tapes dismissed it as a string of coincidences. A few indecisive people, a bit of morning fog. Who knows? But his curiosity got the better of him. He started aligning the timestamps from different days, different weeks, and that's when the pattern jumped out. It was undeniable. Every single morning, between the precise hours of 6:17 and 6:19 a.m., something happened. Or rather, something *D* happen. During that 2-minute window, the number of people attempting to use the crosswalk dropped by a staggering 83%. Think about that. For 2 minutes, the crossing became a no-go zone. And the strangest part, there were no accidents, no screeching tires, no close calls. Nothing scary or dramatic was ever recorded during those minutes. The footage is almost boring. It just shows people waiting. The cars continue to drive by normally. The drivers don't speed up or act aggressively. From their perspective, nothing has changed. It's only the pedestrians who seem to be affected, caught in this strange, invisible net. There's one piece of footage that's particularly chilling. It shows a woman in a red coat standing completely alone at the curb. The street is empty, not a single car in sight for several blocks. She has a clear, safe path to the other side. She looks left. She looks right. She looks left again, and she does not move. She stands frozen on the sidewalk for 1 minute and 48 seconds, just staring at the white lines. Finally, she seems to make a decision. But she doesn't use the crosswalk. Instead, she walks about 30 feet down the road, jaywalks across the street at an unmarked point, and then walks back up the sidewalk on the other side. She never once looks back at the crossing she refused to use. What was she seeing? What were any of them seeing? When a local news station finally picked up the story, they interviewed dozens of people. Their responses were vague and unsettling. They didn't talk about fear. Instead, they used words like wrongness. One man said, "It just feels heavy, like the air gets thick." Another person described a feeling of static, a low hum that wasn't audible, but could be felt in your teeth. They couldn't explain it rationally, but the feeling was powerful enough to make them stop in their tracks. They knew, instinctively, that during those 2 minutes, you just don't cross there. Theories began to fly around online forums and community groups. Some people suggested it was a low-frequency sound emitted from a nearby building, something that only affected the human brain at a certain proximity. Others wondered if it was a geological phenomenon, some kind of localized magnetic field fluctuation. Of course, the more imaginative theories pointed to something paranormal, a memory imprinted on the location, a glitch in our reality, a tear in the fabric of space-time that only opens for 2 minutes every morning. Investigators brought in all sorts of equipment: Geiger counters, sound level meters, electromagnetic field detectors. They found nothing. Every reading was perfectly normal. The air was normal. The ground was normal. The crossing was, by all scientific measures, completely and utterly normal. And yet, the behavior continues to this day. If you go there any morning, you can see it for yourself. At 6:16, people are crossing as usual. At 6:20, the flow resumes. But in that 2-minute gap, a silent, mutual understanding takes hold of the crowd. Strangers stand together in quiet solidarity, waiting for an unseen, unfelt signal to tell them it's okay to proceed. It's become a local quirk, a piece of urban folklore brought to life every single day. The children who grew up in the neighborhood have learned it without ever being told, "Te who'st no." You wait. Perhaps the most unsettling part is not what's happening, but what it implies. That our world, the solid, predictable reality we rely on, might have these little pockets of something else, flaws in the code. Places where the rules momentarily don't apply, and we, with our supposedly superior senses and intellect, are completely blind to it. We might not see the invisible wall or hear the silent hum, but some deeper, more primal part of us does. A part that whispers, "Wait. Not now. Not here." The crosswalk remains a quiet, baffling monument to the unknown. A daily 2-minute reminder that we might not understand the world nearly as well as we think we do. What do you think is going on here? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoy mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe for more. Have you ever felt a sudden, unexplainable pause in your day? A moment where everything seems to just stop, even though the world around you keeps moving. Imagine a busy city intersection, the kind you see every morning. People rushing to work, cars humming, the familiar rhythm of urban life. Now, imagine that at this one specific crossing, every single day, for exactly 2 minutes, something strange happens. Or rather, something stops happening. At precisely 8:32 a.m., the flow of pedestrians heading across the street just hesitates. It's not a dramatic halt. There are no accidents, no sudden alarms, no visible reason for it. People simply slow down. They falter they glance around, a flicker of uncertainty in their eyes, before continuing on their way a few moments later. It's a subtle, almost imperceptible glitch in the fabric of the morning commute. When investigators later questioned some of these pedestrians, their responses were even more baffling. Most couldn't recall anything unusual at all. They just felt they were distracted for a second, maybe lost in thought. Some described it as feeling like they had bad timing, as if they just missed a signal that wasn't there. A few people had a stranger explanation. They mentioned a vague, fleeting sense that they were waiting for something to finish. But what? They couldn't say. It was a feeling without a source, an instinct without a reason. This isn't just a story or a feeling. There's evidence. Audio recordings from a camera at a nearby bus stop captured the moments leading up to, during, and after this strange 2-minute window. Before 8:32 a.m., the sounds are normal. People chat about the weather, complain about transit delays, and talk about their upcoming workday. The conversations are clear and follow a natural rhythm. But then, right on schedule, the audio changes. The speech patterns of the people waiting at the bus stop become fractured. You can hear sentences that just trail off into silence. Words get repeated, stuttered, as if the speaker has lost their train of thought. The natural pauses between phrases become unnaturally long and filled with a strange, unspoken tension. In one particularly chilling clip, you can clearly hear a man say to someone, "Let's just wait until it's..." and then he stops. He never finishes the sentence. The person he's talking to doesn't ask him to clarify, Tejo's wait, and then, just as suddenly as it began, at 8:34 a.m., everything returns to normal. The fractured sentences complete themselves. The pauses shorten. The flow of conversation resumes as if it was never interrupted. Pedestrians who were hesitating now cross the street with purpose. The rhythm of the city clicks back into place. No one looks around in confusion. No one comments on the strange feeling that just passed over them. It's as if the last 2 minutes were erased from their immediate memory. The most perplexing part is that, physically, nothing at the intersection has changed. City maintenance records show no work has been done on the traffic lights, the road, or the crosswalk markings for years. The paint is the same. The signs are the same. There is no faulty signal, no hidden speaker, no environmental anomaly that could explain this behavior. It's a purely human phenomenon, a collective, unconscious pause. Day after day, the footage shows the same thing. It doesn't matter who is there. The faces change. A new crowd gathers every morning, but the behavior remains constant. Different people, same 2 minutes, same inexplicable hesitation. It's a silent, shared experience that no one is aware they are a part of. You might be wondering if the authorities know about this. They do. Sort of. An informal report was filed once, likely by a curious analyst who noticed the pattern in the traffic cam footage. But what could they do? The report was quickly closed with no action taken. The official reason, because, technically, nothing is happening. There are no crimes being committed, no accidents, no public disturbances. How do you investigate an event that consists only of a pause? How do you solve the mystery where the only clue is the absence of action? And so, the 2-minute pause continues, a tiny, silent anomaly in the heart of a bustling city. Every morning, dozens of strangers share a moment of collective hesitation, a shared instinct to wait for something that never arrives. They are participants in a ritual they don't know exists, responding to a signal that no one can see or hear. This raises so many unsettling questions. What event could be so powerful that it leaves a psychic echo in a physical space? An echo that people unconsciously react 2 years later. Was there a traumatic event here that has been forgotten by history, but not by the place itself? Or is it something else entirely? Is this a warning? Are these people sensing something that is about to happen? A danger that their conscious minds can't perceive. The phenomenon is so subtle that no one individual has ever put the pieces together. No one has noticed that they hesitate at the same spot every day. No one has stayed long enough to observe the pattern repeating with the next wave of commuters. Everyone is just passing through, caught for a brief moment in a web they cannot see, before moving on with their lives, completely unaware. The most chilling thought is this. What would happen if someone decided not to wait? What if a pedestrian, either through sheer force of will or pure ignorance, ignored that instinctual pause and just walked straight through during those 2 minutes? We don't know. No one has ever done it. Every single person, without fail, has obeyed the silent command to wait. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are there places like this all over the world? Little pockets of time and space where our own instincts betray us, where we follow rules we don't understand for reasons we can't explain. Perhaps we are all in small walls waiting for something to finish. We just don't know what it is. The story of this intersection is a quiet reminder that there are mysteries hidden in plain sight. And sometimes the most profound events are the ones that happen when nothing happens at all. What do you think is going on here? Is it a ghost, a glitch in time, or some kind of mass psychological event? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the unexplained, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.